Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Skylines series Ardes, and as you can see we are on episode 25 and we've done some pretty serious progress in the last parts, and this is something that is very cool, I think. So for this episode we are building a park, and you can see there this one side of the opera is completely new built and I forgot to record it. Yes. I just want to keep it because it wasn't that much of building, it was just like I placed squares of pathways and placed flowers on them, and this was everything, so it would be about I think 20 minutes, and I didn't record it because it was then there just like building some houses and just basically stuff that we are also doing in this episode. So it isn't that bad that it got lost, and it's not that extremely worst case, I think, at least in my opinion. So yes, today we are building another park next to our opera, and we will be building some more living blocks and stuff like this. So this part today is just like something not so extremely special. It is just like me getting the city expanded. So the next part actually should be something special again, and it may be the university that I want to build, or it will be about our castle on the hill. So I actually right now think that it will be about university because I'm just taking this flow right now to build it, and this is something that I want to do since quite a while. So it is pretty. There's a pretty high rate that it will be about university. I'm sorry. And yes, so back to the video. As you can see there, I was just like plopping down buildings, and it was quite. I think it's quite relaxing, at least for me, to place buildings because it isn't that much of concentrating, and it's looking pretty cool when you can see your city grow and getting expanded and stuff like this. So yes, this is definitely something that I love to do, and this is also like the most time-consuming thing, just to place buildings, and I think it's pretty good when you have some fun in this like I have. So it was quite a busy time for me, and I was a lot pre-recording, and this was also the reason that there were 2 videos last week, so on Wednesday and Sunday, because it was just like that I had so much material and I had kind of some time, so I pushed it out because I won't have that much time next like week, I think, or so, because I will have some pretty hard tests, just like my math exam and my business. How would it be called? It is actually called Wirtschaftsführerschein, and it's in business. I would say it's a business test that is made in whole Europe, so that you can just get into another area, into another country, and say, yes, I have this certificate and I can open my own business there. And this is quite hard, but I actually enjoy it, so this is something that I'm looking forward to do, and this is on Monday this week, so when this is released I already had the test, but for me it is just like in 1 week, so we are just like in 1 week between this and when I will upload this and when I will speak about it. Actually, at the point we have 192 subs, and I just wanted to say thank you for reaching the 190, and we're coming very close to the 200, and this is something that I love to see because it is so awesome to reach the 200 subs for me, because it is just like a massive crowd when you think about it. So yes, so today it is a lot just like plopping buildings, and then today we are also building this park. This park is meant to be belonging to the opera, and it is just like something like a place to relax for all the people and go to, so that we can also see people use it. We have something like people generators, so that these are spots where the people want to go to, and this is something that I think is quite a good idea for this game, and it gives us the possibility of placing invisible markers on our plazas and stuff like this, just to get more people there. So right now in-game my FPS rate is quite okay, I would say. It is about 10 FPS, and this is in the area where I can build, because in my last series I got down to 3 FPS. This was quite horrible, but for now this should be okay, I would say. It isn't perfect, but it's okay. This is, I think, also quite the biggest problem of this game, that it has so less FPS, and it is using so much of my RAM and my CPU, so this is something extremely on this game. So back to what we were building, I was building some smaller squares so that it's more cramped, and this worked out also quite nicely. So there are a lot of bigger ones where they also have some gardens, but there are also some where they don't have that much of a garden, so it has both of them in this whole area. This is something like the main part of our old town. This means that this opera was built in about 1800, I would think, and the city expanded around it. This is also just like something like a historical place, so there will be the old university, as I already said, I'm sorry. And this will be a very... Is it crucial? Yes, I think it's kind of a crucial area for our city, so yes. So as you can see there, it is just like me copying buildings and placing them in, so this is something that is definitely needed in the game, so that you have actually people using your streets and stuff like this, and it isn't mattering me too much, so it isn't bothering me in any way, and it is quite a lot of fun to do it, in my opinion. So that there, I already knew I wanted to do a park, and I just had this main thing there in place, and this was also in my mind for using it because it is on a central area and there would be a lot of people there. So if you maybe notice when you're living in a European town, or also an American or a Asian one, I'm sorry, and you would just like go to a park when you have to wait for a train or a tram. So this is definitely something that's happening in Vienna quite a bit. And I'm also doing it when I know that I can't reach this train. The next train is going in 20 minutes, so I have some time. I always go in some parks or maybe sit down in a cafe, so just like to give yourself some free time and relax in the nature or in the city. This is actually something that I also love about Austria, because in Vienna you have a lot of places where you can do this, and you have a lot of beautiful parks. So this is definitely one of the good points of living in Austria and near Vienna, because it is a pretty big city, but also a very cool looking one, and also sometimes very busy one, but also quite relaxed one when you are coming on the right times. And actually something completely random is there was something about the... how was it called? So the most... I think it was disrespectful. The most disrespectful country or city was Vienna on place 2, I think, or something like this. And this is actually pretty interesting to me, because for me as a person that comes from Vienna, I don't actually think like this, because we have something that we call Schmi, and this is, we have a very, sometimes for other people that come into Austria, weird kind of way to talk or to make some jokes. So this is, I think, something that definitely went on there, because it isn't just like meant to be like insulting you or something like this, but it often comes over like this when you don't know Wienerisch. So this is something kind of an own dialect, I think I would say, and yes, but I think this shouldn't be the problem there, and this is definitely something that you have to keep in mind when you want to visit Vienna. So back from my travel tips that suddenly changed in travel tips that I just wanted to say something like a side note to what I'm building there is just like placing more buildings and trying to keep the camera at one point so that it's better for you to look at and not so fastly wiggling around. This worked out quite well, and I just like the feeling of placing buildings and seeing by myself, getting them placed block by block and building by building, and just having this feeling of a completed city. So about completion, this whole project will definitely not be completed in about 10 episodes. I was very much hoping this to get into newer stuff, but this will definitely keep me on playing for quite a long time. I also enjoyed playing it in the last time, so I recorded so many things and it was quite massive. I think I have about 50 hours or something like this in the last 2 weeks. Wait, I'll actually have a look for this one right now. It is play time 700 hours. I think I have to go to my profile, but I'm not sure. So 12 hours, and this is quite a lot for me because I don't have that much time, and there's just one game where I have close to it is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and then there's actually Blender. I'm just like trying to work in Blender to get more stuff in and getting better at using Blender, because I'm not that extremely good at it, and as I already said, I want to use some props, so I'm working there on the stuff that you've seen in the last episode and also some other stuff, but this isn't ready to be shown. So this definitely will be shown later on, but not for now. So right there I'm just like placing a small parking lot, and I've used this one because it looks kind of cool for me, and if you elevate it up a bit it looks even better. So you can actually see the textures when you're moving it above the ground. I'm sorry, it was just me getting this idea of placing them down in the ground, hoping that the decals would stay there, but they didn't, so I had to change it again. So one thing that I definitely want to build in the future is a highway off-ramp for this area, and this would be a highly detailed one, and I'm not sure if it is a very big one or a very small one. This is something that I will decide on the day that I will be building it, because right now I couldn't tell you how we would choose there. So this should be something like a small plaza area, and there are a lot of trees and bushes, so it is just like very natural looking, and it just gives some more green into the city, because I like my cities looking green and looking modern and not so extremely cramped like old towns are often. So definitely it's a cramped old town, but not so extremely crowded and busy looking. So as you can see there, I'm trying to get the actually playtime in there so that you can see the vehicles also moving around, because this is something that I think would make it way better for you to look at. So there was just looking because I've changed to another version. I changed to the Industries DLC version so that I can get more trucks and people in my city, because there was a problem with the old one where there were about 500 vehicles in the whole city, and right now after I changed to the other one we're about 16,000. So this makes it way better for me, and we're actually closely getting to the limit soon, I think, when I will be building ahead with the city. So I will have to expand the limits, or I will have to get down with my detailing and getting so many buildings in. So we are right now at 10k people, and it is just like, I think we're not 10k, I can't read actually, but we are something around this number, and this is quite cool for this downtown, because old town, I'm sorry, because I'm actually thinking that this is quite a good number for such a small old town. I actually would call it very small, but maybe it isn't that small, but in my feelings it is very, very, very small. So there I'm just like tracking all the vehicles and thinking about where they want to go, but we are soon starting with our, how's it called, park. I don't know why, but I'm always forgetting some words today. It is kind of weird. This was also in school, in my English work. I was forgetting to write words, or actually just like make a side note for them, for myself, to get it to another kind of word or stuff like this. So to make it better, I would say. So with all these trucks and stuff like this going around, the city is coming along quite nicely and coming along quite realistically. So this is definitely something that I enjoy about City Skylines, when you see a city grow and getting actually used from the people, because it is quite depressing when you have a whole city but without cars. So the cars are giving it 100 times more realism and more of this, how should you call it, more of this like surprising thing for you when you see how they're moving there, and it is giving you a joy when you're building it. At least for me, for myself, and also other people already told me about it, that they have the same feeling when they're building in City Skylines. So I will right now just like place some more buildings there, and this is something that I'm always have to do, because you need to get so many buildings in the city to get it to a city. Well, no shit, it's a city, but you know what I mean. So you have to make quite a lot of progress with this. So I'm trying to build as many as possible for one episode, so that I just like have this feeling of getting something done right there. And yes. So there, as you can see, I'm just like starting placing in some trees there, that I can have the final look for it. And trees are actually making it so much better, because everyone wants wants to see something kind of green when you're looking outside the window, this is actually something that also some psychologists have seen on the humans, that if they're looking on the nature or on something like the screen colors, they're getting more relaxed. And this is something that is very cool, and this is something that I definitely want to add there. So as you can see there, we have this big modern high-rise building, and we will have more of them, and we will also have quite high buildings. So I'm planning on something like 40 floors, so this will be definitely something like a landmark, and this should be around the river. There for the waterfront, I'm kind of struggling right now what I want to do there, because we have the highway there, and this highway is actually very useful for us, but it is just like kind of a problem when you think about it, that you have the highway right next to the water. So I will maybe get it right down to the water so that you can also have buildings with a look on the like, what I want to say is that you have a look on the waterfront. I didn't remember the name waterfront. I don't know what is wrong with me right now, but there is something wrong with me right now. So there, as you can see, I was just like moving everything in and just like struggling a bit with getting it detailed, but the detailing I'm not taking it so serious in these areas, because they're just like these overlooking areas that you're always overlooking at when you're looking at a city, and this wasn't that much important for me. More important for me is to build something like this here, like this park, because this is something that you will see when you fly over the city. So I wanted to add it just like there, and I also did it, and this park is looking so awesome, so gorgeous in the end. Yes, words are very hard. And yes, so this park is, we can actually maybe give it a name, so maybe something like a musician or something like this. So if you want to have something like a special name for this or the opera, please write in the comments, and I will just like decide what name to use, and you will be featured in the next video where we will be in this area. So this park is kind of planned, but I actually like how it looks, and it is something that is pretty cool for me and that I like to look at. And I think it's also giving us some great chance of detailing it, because these like weird shapes are perfect for detailing. So as you can see there, it's just like me placing in some cypresses and stuff like this, because I like them, and I like them due to the reason of them looking very cool when you have them in kind of an order. So this is definitely a planned park. We'll also have something kind of in a wilder park with more nature in it, and we will definitely have this at some point in this series. So I right now want to leave you for this video, and I want to say thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this episode, I would appreciate if you would consider liking this video, and if you're new to my channel, I would appreciate if you would write me a comment. Also, if you're from already well known to my channel, write me a comment about what you think about this whole area, and if you're new, I would appreciate if you would subscribe to me. It helps me a lot, and you can stay up to date to what I'm building and what I'm right now doing. So yes, thanks to all of you for watching this video, and have a great day. Bye.